Are we up? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Time for a bath. Time for a bath. Actually, my main work today is all just downstairs on the computer, typing and typing. We're getting ready. We're sending out the next email on Monday. The next, update, newsletter / promotion, whatever you want to call it. That goes out Monday. Watanabe-san has been preparing tons of stuff for it, and I have to go through all this on the weekend. So I'm going to spend the next 2 days just in front of a computer screen. So for me, it's a chance today to just do something else. Bath time. What we're going to do, there's a few things we're going to wash today. I didn't actually finish off the stuff that Taran-san and I did last week. There's a half a dozen or so left from that batch. So I'm going to finish those off. This is the previous album that we saved. I'll finish some of those off. I also have a never-ending stream of, the old Tehon. So we'll put some of those in the bath as well. But the main event that I want to do this morning is I want to get started on saving some of the prints from the book we've been looking at in the show and tell the last few days. The book is still here. The book is still in one piece, but I've removed pages one by one, and we're going to get the prints transferred from the old dirty album into modern safe storage. So we'll see some of that. And then for show and tell, we'll look at the back part of this book, which we haven't seen before. We're going to have an update on the show and tell from the other day, the old Hiroshige print. I've learned more about the print that we got. We'll update that, and that's what today's stream is going to be about. So step one, get some of this stuff into the warm water. This first group, they're on thick, heavy cards, so they will take a bit of time here to soak off. Actually, I should have maybe started this before we went live, but whatever, didn't think of it. So. And also, I've changed the audio. Last time we did this, we had real trouble. I looked back at the streams after they were done, and the sound from the heater turning on and off was really disruptive. So I've set up the microphone in a different way today. I think my voice is okay, and the mic is nowhere near the bath. So I think once this heater kicks in, we shouldn't be picking up a whole bunch of dirty sound from it, but we'll find out. Paper out, yes, it's right here. The fridge is open. Dei-chan's paper's out. She's doing a batch of Patreon Nenga, the print we're sending to our Patreon supporters this year as a Nenga. She's doing a bunch of those. She's got 100 or 120 in there. Yeah, I think the audio is good. It's the audio we've been using. Since changing to the new computer, I can plug a mic directly into it. The old computer didn't have an audio input directly. We had to work through USB. This one has a headphone jack which understands audio. So the mic is just plugged in, and I think it's cool. Yeah, much easier these days. I haven't studied these, we've got so many of these Tehon prints. I just honestly have never studied them. We've just got so many here. So you heard the sound kicking in there. I think it's all right to show. Give them a couple of minutes to soak there, then we'll start the peeling. So. While we're waiting for these things to warm up a little bit to get soaked, not sure there's any news today. Oh, there is a bit of news. We've been talking about the construction to show the building behind us that's being torn down. The Korean restaurant renovated their entire kitchen the other day. The building across the street has had a new paint job, courtesy of the city. The smoke shop, the hookah shop, what's he called, a shisha place. The news was, just as the new year opened, he hadn't been there over the new year. As the new year opened, a garbage truck came and they ripped everything out of there, threw it all in the garbage truck and hauled it away and started renovation. So I assumed, of course, that just whatever, the guy has gone, the guy has finished. The renovation's been going on for nearly 2 months now. 2 or 3 guys every day rebuilding. They were there yesterday afternoon, and part of the rebuilding, they left the front doors open and we can see what's inside. And what's inside, they're rebuilding a smoke shop. It looks like the same guy is actually going to still be there and after having a 2-month renovation. There's a row of benches around an open space in the middle, just like it basically was before. So it looks like, when I think I said something like, looks like the guy's run away and they've thrown away all his furniture and stuff. It looks like it's a planned renovation. We'll see. No idea. Questions. Instagram post. Soka. I've got those prints here. I have the prints here, and if you remind me about it at the end of the stream as part of show and tell, or if I get a pause during it, we can have a look at those prints and see how they go. They are already in the collection, by the way. If anybody hasn't noticed that, these prints are in the collection online already. It's funny too, I put the 12 images up, and one of the people posting, his handle name was Kintaro Prince or something. I don't know who he is. But this was sitting there on the screen in front of me. He says, like, there's no Kintaro in the set. And I guess the gentleman probably can't read kanji because it says Kin. This one is Kintaro. So, we'll look at them later. I gotta get started. Someone's asking about Shiro Kasamatsu, kind of an unknown Shinhanga artist. He falls in the gaps there, right, between the famous guys. I don't know much about him. I don't actually have any of his prints. They're not all that common here. Also, I'm not quite sure about this, I think he was involved in the production much more than other people like Hasui and stuff. I really don't know too much about him, I'm sorry. Here we are, they're starting to come off. This is heavy, thick card. These first ones that are coming off, actually, this is a duplicate set. We have this already in our collection here. Oh, this is too hot. What am I doing? My fingers are burning here. Just floating off. Oh, it is too hot. too hot, too hot. Just a minute. I should put the computer so I can read it while I'm here at the bath. I can't do both ends here. One sec. Try and get the glue off, and while the glue is still dissolved, try and wipe it off. In a few minutes this will be dry. Those of you who've never seen this before, it looks kind of impossible. These things are sitting here in hot water. The first question is, why hasn't the pigment all run? Well, they don't. The pigments are not water soluble. Although interesting, when we make the prints do get held in water as a suspension. The pigments don't dissolve in water. So the pigments are held in suspension. They go into the print. The pigments obviously get mixed in between the interstices of the paper, and they don't run in water. In a few minutes after these are dry, you'll see these. It'll be impossible to believe these things were actually soaked in hot water a few minutes ago. We start another group. Having said that, there are some kinds of pigments, of course, that do run in water. If you don't know what you're doing, this isn't something you should kind of do at home. Because there are, especially during the Meiji era, there were a number of pigments used during the Meiji era, specifically a lot of the red vermilion ones and some of the purple ones, that do run in water. So if you've got some prints and you want to soak them off but you don't know what you've got, it's kind of better if you don't do this. We've been playing with these for many, many years and know what we're doing. The specific group now, we've done lots of these over the past few weeks, and we know the backing paper is weak, the glue is weak, the print is strong. So we know what we can get away with here. Usually, I spoiled one right a few weeks ago. I was doing this, I tore one of the prints, but usually we're okay on this. So that Still a lot of backing paper there. The prints in this batch, for those of you who didn't see this before, these are from the late Meiji period. These are going to be about 1890s to 1900 to 1910, somewhere around there. These are the genre of prints that were used in classrooms as models for students to learn how to do brush painting. They're called a teihon. The book that these prints came in were called a teihon. And literally that's a pattern book. So these prints were made in the tens of thousands of copies and distributed to kids in school as copies, models for learning how to do painting brushstrokes. They're everywhere. There's so many left over. You go in the used book district down here in Tokyo, you can get prints like this anywhere. You get the idea. I mean, what better kind of a model to practice brush strokes? Now it's getting cold. I don't know. Too hot, too cold, too hot, too cold. Yeah, these are going to take longer. These have to sit on card. They're going to take longer. Don't rip the corners. I'll do my best. I'll do my best here. So, someone says, were these considered disposable back in the day? They were just cheap stuff. As I said, they were prints made for educational use. They would go into the classrooms. And I guess eventually, like any textbook, it would be replaced. You know, here's this year's textbook. There's next year's textbook. New models would be published, and the old ones would just be tossed aside. Really. Remember, these weren't art prints for any kind of collection. Nobody would think of collecting these. Most of them, as the textbooks would be replaced a year or so later, the old ones would just be tossed aside. And there would be people who think, oh, that's cool, I think I'll keep that. That's so. But they wouldn't have been collected like art prints. Not at all. What's the word? Dihydrogen oxide. Is that what it's called? This special exotic solution. you can't see whatever. You can see the ones in the bath. You can't see the other ones here. We can switch the camera now and then here. I don't know if it makes any sense to do that. What I'm doing, of course, I'm just putting them face down on newspaper. Not if I put them on newspaper face up, the little bits of glue residue on the back still do stick to the newspaper. So they go first face down, and then just I'm switching out newspaper, switching out. I'll do that for the next hour or so. And they will dry. They will just come dry. We'll see them as they get dry. We'll do some close-ups later. Mortality rate. Actually, I think your language there, everybody who has ever consumed it has died. I think not yet. Not sure about some of the art value of all this, you know, I mean, I don't know, interesting, but great art this is not. But it was whatever, educational stuff for practicing, so. Yeah, they're just falling off now, look at this. The glue has just completely dissolved. The backing sheet just falls off. My only job really here is just to make sure I don't screw things up. Get the little bit of glue residue off the edges. The pattern you're seeing here, all the, you see the color, the difference in color. This is where the glue protected the paper from the backing sheet. We see this all the time. The parts that had glue actually are in better condition than the parts that didn't have glue. But once this is dry, there will be very little difference here. And as we talked about last time, we have to be careful with some of the vermilion colors. This one seems to be okay, but the vermilions will run sometimes. It looks like we're okay with these. I chose them carefully. I think if we left this one in for an extended time, this would run. Look at this, just falling off. See, look at that. It's transferred through. Interesting. Years of being glued together, the vermilion pigment has gone through to the back of the paper and into the backing sheet. The print itself is fine. Look how thin it is. You can see my fingers through that. Floating off. This one's interesting. I don't know if you can see the lines. This is an envelope before cutting. We'll look at it later under the camera. Can you see it? There's lines embossed here in the thing, and it's going to be chopped out. These corners will be cut off. These flaps will fold back, and this will be a tiny envelope. This is actually a pochibukuro in its native form. I can't see the screen from here. Can you see the lines? There's lines that have been pressed into the paper showing where the thing will be cut, and 2 lines here where it will be folded. This is a little envelope. Is there a risk of the prints getting moldy from being soaked in the water? This is just normal tap water here in Tokyo. This is Tokyo's drinking water. The prints are going to be in the water for, as you see, a couple of minutes. They then come out and they get dried. So they're not picking up anything from the water itself. The benefit from this job, getting them off the backing sheet, far, far, far outweighs any potential, risk of them being wet for a few minutes. The main risk here is if I'm careless, I could tear something, soft, wet paper. You saw me. I tore one in the previous batch a couple of months ago when I was doing this. The main risk here is mechanical damage through careless handling. And actually, in my defense too, the one that I tore was one that was severely compromised. It was severely weakened by being put on a heavily acidic paper. So it was pretty much dead already. But no, this is Tokyo tap water, among the cleanest water on this planet. Look at this one. This one is so thin. Dave, be careful here. This one is super thin paper. Wow. In fact, I'm not going to muck with that. It's a different kind of paper, this one. This one I got to be careful with. It's a different kind of paper than the other ones we've had so far. Woo! I got to be careful here. Down she goes. We're not going to muck with the back of that one at all. What's the question? Show and tell on Thursday. Okay, we've got the same print here. I've learned more about that print. The old print. Oh, also, there's something else to mention. When I got an email about Dave, you told us something on the last show and tell that really isn't true. What's going on? What's going on? And when I played back what I had said, my words and my meaning were different. So I've got to recap this. When we were talking about that set of prints that was made in 1927 based on the old Hiroshige designs, I said something like, the designs were pasted down on wood and carved to make the new prints, just like the old days. And it's true and it's not true. The designs that were kept in Paris, the old Hiroshige Hanshida, that physical same sheet of paper was of course not destroyed by being pasted on the block. Absolutely. In the old days, those pieces of paper got physically pasted down and destroyed during the carving. The set they found in Paris, almost certainly they didn't do that. When I said the designs were pasted on and carved, I just meant Hiroshige's designs. I didn't mean that physical piece of paper. By 27, we've got photography, so of course they must have taken pictures and something like this, transferred this to paper and pasted it down. So I'm sorry, my words actually said Hiroshige's designs were pasted on paper, on wood. I meant the designs, not the physical sheets of paper. So I'm sorry. I spoke in a vague way, which didn't make any sense. So I apologize for that. The physical sheets presumably are still in a nice museum somewhere in Paris or London or somewhere. Well, tracing by hand is not what you want to do, because now you've got the Hiroshige, you've got the tracer, you've got the carver, you've got too many people involved. So tracing by hand would not have been the way to go here. For photographic methods, put it on wood, and now you've got the carver's translation. You don't want too many translations. But I'm sorry, I really spoke unclearly. I was just enthusiastic. I meant, Hiroshige's line work, Hiroshige's lines were pasted directly on the block and they carved from there. I said something like this, I didn't mean that physical piece of paper. I'm sorry. So this is on the internet. Now, Dave on the internet says those things were destroyed. I don't know. So, people are misunderstanding. Yeah, it's the words I chose. I'm sorry. In my mind, I knew what I was talking about, that the line work was all that was important, but the words that came out of my mouth said the actual sheets of paper or something like this. I apologize. I knew what I was talking about, but I didn't say what I did. Drawing boards, one sec. Some of these little ones are ready for pressing. Wow, wow, wow. Couple of minutes here, just a sec. This one actually, the one with the cat here, this one actually is sticky on the back. I didn't really wash off enough of the glue, so I've got to be careful when I press this because that glue may stick to the newspaper here. Have to be careful. That's what makes them not Hiroshige originals. Okay. Oh, this one's got a hole in it. Look at this. There's a hole in this one. No, it's from before. Don't yell at me. There's a hole in that one. Yoisha. Okay, let's get this little group out of the way, and then let's move on now to some of the new match labels, because I know that everybody's waiting to see those. So let's have a look. Hang on. No wormhole, looks like a damage hole. Looks like a piece of damage. I mean, remember these were used in classrooms. These were passed out to kids and handed out and taken back and handed out and taken back. These were textbooks in an elementary school. There's lots of people asking why we're doing this. I know we're doing this to try, if we can, to stop time a little bit. If these prints stayed on that horribly acidic backing paper, they will die at a much quicker rate than they are actually dying. They're not rare prints. They're not, they don't need to be preserved and protected. But Dave here, I just want to keep the prints I've got in as nice condition as possible. Look at this, you can't even tell which is up and which is down. The paper's so thin. Is that the front of the paper or the back of the paper? You tell me. I think you're seeing the front. Yeah, you can tell by the calligraphy. There would be no way to tell which is the front and which is the back, Yes, the plastic question. Yes. Okay. We ship the prints in plastic packaging, of course, because, packages get wet and whatever, different humidity. The plastic serves as a protection agent while we're shipping it. The plastic that we use for our packaging here is not going to hurt the prints in any kind of short term. But what's going to hurt the prints if we keep them in the package from Mokuhankan is lack of air circulation. So if you buy a print from us in that plastic package and you get it there and you keep it in your house and you never open it, this is not good because the print is never exposed to any kind of circulation of air. It doesn't breathe at all. So it's not the fact that it's touching plastic that's bad, it's the fact that it doesn't breathe at all that's not so good. Just somebody's asking, how about Mokuhankan here? Why do we keep our prints? Why do we keep our prints in books like this? This is not an optimum solution. This is not great, and indeed, if we kept it in here and pressed it and never opened it, the same thing would happen. It wouldn't be able to breathe and it wouldn't be good. There's no specific damage that's going to happen to it from that because that's inert, but it's not good that it can't breathe. I'm simply stuck. What do? I've got tens of thousands of prints here. I need to physically store them in a way that they don't get physically damaged. So I'm a little bit stuck between a rock and a hard place. No matter what preservation method I use, if I put each one between sheets of washi, put them in drawers, left the drawer closed, there's no air circulation. There's this thing in Japan in some museums, and they do this every autumn in Hiroshima. They've got these books with the names of the people who died in the bombing. Every autumn they bring them out on a sunny day and they open the books and they put them in the air and they turn all the pages, people with little white gloves, to try and get the pages all aired out at least once a year. So that's your optimum situation. So it's not the fact that it's plastic that's bad, but they really should breathe. And a lot of the prints in our collection here, they maybe haven't been opened now. Stuff that I put in there years ago haven't opened yet. So framing is really not good. If you're only interested in preserving the print, it shouldn't be exposed to light and it shouldn't be out on the wall, obviously. It's a balance between owning the things and using them. If you just put it in a drawer and never see it, there was no reason for the print to exist. Being in a frame, it's going to be seen and enjoyed. So I get it. There's no single one optimum answer for all of this stuff. Putting it in a bad frame with plywood back and no acid-free materials will definitely kill the thing. Mushibashi, what's the word? I forget when they put the things in the air there. I forget the Japanese word for it. Oh, these are coming off. These have glue all across the back. Mizuboshi. Here's another one. Look at this. That's the long contact between the vermilion on the back of the paper. The vermilion has transferred. The print's okay. Okay, I gotta eat some. I was talking too much. Same thing, look at this. Get it? Her lipstick and her hair ornament. How's our little envelope? Floats off. Can you see the shape now perhaps better? You can see the lines, the fold lines, where it's going to fold into a little envelope shape. We won't do that, but that's the original concept. This one I think actually is not a little wood block print. This is a label, an offset label of some kind, put in the guy's collection. It's not actually a wood block print. We've seen this one before. We now have multiple copies of this. It's an advertisement for an exhibition of match label prints that was held at the Mitsukoshi department store on the 7th floor. We've got many, many copies of this one. It must have been distributed in the tens of thousands of copies. This series, we can guess what this must have been. This is a partial set. I'm guessing this is, I don't know, zodiac animals as toys. It's a little wooden horse, it's a tiger, I don't know. Or actually it's horse. Is horse, yeah. Yeah, horse is a zodiac animal. That's a partial set. Here's an uncut pair. I know we see the match level prints sometimes in uncut format. I know you've seen over the past few weeks here at Mokuhankan in the streams and videos how we make our match table prints. We make them in larger sheets. This is a pair. They would have been cut up before distributing. We made our last batch in a set of 10 and cut them up before sending them out. Okay, let me get these 3 done, and then we'll put in some of our new match table prints. The drying boards, what we're doing here, this is stage by stage. We're getting rid of most of the moisture on the newspaper. Then we do change newspaper, change newspaper, change newspaper, get rid of most of the moisture, and then the prints go into a stack of these. These are the kind of drying boards we use for our normal wood block prints. We can't put the wet prints right into those boards because the boards themselves start to warp. But if we get, I don't know, 80% or something of the moisture off first with the newspaper, then the last few percent can come off in the drying boards. Before we finish today, you will see completed prints here, so just hang on. You will see completely dry, flat prints here. Nice one. This is Hanko, Kaj de Hanko, our famous guy who did the Scent of Chrysanthemums picture. You can see the practice value. You know, anybody who's trying to work with a brush, you can see this. You can almost do this yourself, anybody, just by copying. That's the idea. Copy the strokes you see again and again and again. Learn how to draw. These are, again, they are called, the book would have been called a tehon, and it's literally hand, te, hand, hon, book. Literally handbook. How's our time? We're okay to show? Yeah, 10 to 9. Good. Oh, look at that one. Just straight off and out. what we've got next now, that's the warm-up. What we've got next, this is the first group of prints from our recent album. You know, the album we've been looking at the last few weeks. We still haven't got to the last pages of it, and I've got some more stuff to show you from it today, but the first pages have now come out, and the first prints from this album are now going into the bath here. This was the first group. It was the Year of the Rat, and the backing paper is thin. Look at that, looks like the prints are just floating in water. Look at this. This should not take long at all. There's three factors here. There's the strength of the washi itself, there's the strength/weakness of the backing paper, but there's also the question of glue, what kind of glue they used. It's nearly always just a dab of rice. People just did this in the kitchen in their house. They got a bowl of rice, just rub rice between your fingers and it turns into glue, and you can use it to paste things down. If they used a more commercial glue, some kind of, packaged product, then it's more difficult. And we can see these are on in the corners, because you can see, right? You can see the marks on the corners where the glue is. Just 4 dabs on the corners. Give us a couple of minutes. Yeah, look at it. You can see that clearly. Look at this. There's the next step. Someone's talking about this. Would it be advisable to rinse them in a clean, fresh bath of water to remove the glue, residue, and dirt? There definitely would be an advantage to moving up one more level with this. I know the fact that these things have been put on a quite acidic paper, I think if these were really expensive prints and this was a totally professional conservatory workshop type place, the next step would be they would go into a bath with some kind of pH adjusted thing to try and get them into a more neutral situation and remove all traces of glue and stuff. It's a question of time and resources and knowledge and what they're worth. Again, this is not, globally important woodblock prints. I'm just simply trying with our own collection to try and stop the degradation at this point. Could they be taken farther? Yes, if there was a reason for it and a need for it, and if the resources were available, it could be taken 1 or 2 steps farther. Absolutely. Partly I don't have the knowledge, partly I don't have the time and resources. We're just getting them stopped, the damage stopped. So, is this perfectly optimal? No, I guess not. Remember, the art world just doesn't even look at this stuff. These are things that have completely been ignored by any kind of art organization or museum organization or conservator organization. Nobody would even look twice at these things. So I'm just happy that we can get this a step ahead and get some nice prints just saved. So a bicarbonate buffer, something like this. So. We may have action here. Look at this. Look at this. They are really just going to float away. We are in luck. My job now is to do this 822 times, because that's how many prints are in that album. Look at the brown. This is so browned. Oh! Here we go. If only the guy had chosen a better paper. You know, it's actually washi. This is actually some kind of washi. It's got strength in itself. This isn't some total junk, but it just seems to be. Look at the, you can see the prints have gone so brown. And I don't feel anything on the corners. No, there's no blob of glue. Nope, away we go. Let's get them out of here. That's all it takes. 822 times. What am I doing for the rest of the week? Actually, I'm working. I'm not going to do much more, but spend time on this bit by bit as we can. Success. It is going to work. That album is going to come to life. Good. So for us now, this kind of saving job here, this is optimal. This is wonderful. The backing paper is all coming off. On the previous ones you saw me do a few minutes ago, the Tejon, the backing paper was dissolving. Some of it was staying on the print, some of it came off into the water. So I had to try and rub the back of each print to try and decide, is that still backing paper or is that print paper coming apart? This one now, there's no such problem. The print is the print, the backing paper is coming away cleanly, there's no glue residue. This is a perfect cleaning job. Perfect. If there was a bunch of people here, we could just do this as a gang today all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 4, bang, bang, bang. We could do this thing. They're coming off. Look at this. They're just floating off without my attention. This next group, there's 13 now, there's one missing here. This next group has some bright red ones. I'm a tiny bit nervous about this. This pigment, I'm not completely 100% certain about this one. I think we're okay, but I don't think we can leave those for very long. Let's give this a go and watch it carefully. Yeah, I'm so happy with this. This is perfect, perfect. Yeah, the backing paper hasn't been left behind on the print. Perfect. You see the red coming through. Seems okay. we're okay. We're okay. It's clear at the back, but it hasn't dissolved and it hasn't moved around to another area of the print. We're good to go. Good, 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 good. Okay, if we were going to do this for much longer, clearly it would be time to change the water. The water obviously is picking up gunge and dirt and who knows what. So if we were going to do this lots longer, it would be time now, I think, sort of to clean up the bath, put fresh water in it, and you know. But I'm not going to do. We're just doing 10 more minutes, so we're okay. Let me dry my hands, because that very first group we did about 1 hour ago, that first group is now done. Can we do this without spilling him in the bath? Who's going to focus here? This is the first group we did. They are now dry and flat and neat and clean. Is it focused? Someone's asking about, can the browning be helped? I know there's nothing else really. This paper now is simply just toned. This is from age. This is not any specific problem from acidity, I think. The ones we're just doing now, yes, this is acidic storage. I don't know, really, I don't know. As I said, I'm not an expert on this. All I know is that the level I can handle. We can get Dave here at this workshop, we can get him to this stage. We can get them off the paper safely without physically damaging them, and I think now they will just store in albums. So that's the point that we can get them to here at Mokuhankan. Now my drawing board is wet from the steam. This group that we've done here, this was the group, remember it was the group of New Year messages, Gasho, and they were from, what was it, Showa 11, I don't remember. One or two of them had a date. I don't remember where. I can't find the one with the date. One of the ones in the group had the date. Show 11, I think, or show 10. I don't remember. Oh, here it is. Show 11. That's the group. Show 11. I was born show 26, so this is, I don't know, 15 years before I was born. So these are not gloriously old antique prints, just a little bit older than Dave here. Well, the focus is funny, is it now? Height. Let's try and get it. Now that after I changed the focus, is it back? Oh, it's back. Height. Okay, let's just get this group off and move on to our show and tell. We have tons of show and tell, more than we can get through today. I want to recap some of the last stuff and then show something new. Let's move on. Let's just get this last group off. Here's where I spoil something. I rush it too much or something. This last group is actually different. The corners are stuck a bit more tightly. Not sure why. Did the guy use a different glue for different pages of this book? Who knows? These last few are stuck more tightly. Here. Okay, my job there is of course still not finished. I have to now after the stream's over, I will stack and restack and stack and restack and get them in the drying boards so we can get it done. But right now, for the next 15, 20 minutes, let's have a bit of show and tell. Let's move the camera. Hang on a sec. Earthquake while I move the camera. Hang on a second, please. So there's the setup that we had to show. That was the bath. The camera was looking down from on top of it. The table is here, the table where I normally do my sizing, and the extra camera is over there. So let's have a look now. That one can go off at the moment. There is no outside today, so hold me back. Is that what you're looking at? Where are we at? We're at 12, 13 degrees here, and it's very dry, very, very dry. It's not 4C, it's about 11. Okay. First, what's the order here? What's first? What's first? What's first? Okay, just the recap from yesterday. We saw yesterday this set of prints. I just want to touch one couple of things on them. One is to recap again that I misspoke, or I spoke carelessly yesterday, and of course the original Hiroshige designs were not destroyed in the production of this modern version of this. His designs would have clearly been photographed and copied before pasting down. The other thing about this is that it is a Junjo Zuri, it is step by step by step, but there are a number of them missing along the way, and it's not actually perfectly done. The final one, we touched on this just a stroke the other day at the end of it. We jumped from this group to this group. There's 3 impressions that are done here. There should have been first a sky all the way down in pale blue. Then next, on top of that, there was a gradation about this far down. And then on top of that, there was what we call the Ichimoji Bokashi, the 1-line gradation at the top. So where we have here 1 sheet coming in, actually there were 3 colors. The other way round, there are also some things missing on the final sheet. If I go back through the pile, just do a random spot here, take a look at the top of the Sensoji temple, the roof. At one of the earlier stages, it's not focusing. Come on, camera, do your job. Focus, focus, focus. It's supposed to be on auto. Let's do this. Come on, do your job. At one of the earlier stages, there was a gradation put in at the top of the temple. But by the time we got to the later stage at the end, it is missing. It's on the one before, but it is not on the final stage. There is another place. If we shift to the other side of the print, no cameraman here with me, hang on a sec. If we switch to the other side of the print, at the base of the pagoda, we have blank ground. But in the earlier stages, at the base of the pagoda, there was a gradation included. So there's some stuff added and some stuff that's missing. So this is not a perfectly executed group of prints to show. I don't have a copy of the 1928 original to compare what was the final group. And in fact, I couldn't find actually a good clear copy, a museum copy anywhere. Anyway, that is, and this is the thing to watch for. If you're looking for this edition, this is Sato Shotaro Ban. This is a mark of the original edition from 1928. Okay, let's put that away. It'll be going online quite soon. I do have, in our own collection, we do have a later reproduction of these prints. This is a print from, we think, 1980s or so. Oops, wrong one. I saw the snow and the red temple. My mind said that's the Asakusa one. Sorry about that. This is the one I meant to grab. So this is the post-war 1980s era reproduction. We have the whole set of these. There is gradation on the ground, there is a gradation on the temple, the sky is done a little bit differently. And there are a number of small differences. For example, if we go back to the 1928 version, this is not a really faithful reproduction. If you look here, can we zoom in again, zoom in, zoom out, focus, focus. The earlier version has footsteps in the snow here and there. The post-war reproduction has some footsteps, but they got lazy and left out the footsteps on the group back here. So there would be lots of ways to tell when you've got a print and you're trying to decide where it is and what it's from and what edition it's from. There's all kinds of ways, if you've got the experience and if you've got the data, to check and see what you've got. This will be 1928. This will be I'm guessing 1980, 1985, somewhere around there. Okay, let's put that away. Let's move on. Focused. Okay, there's three things I want to cover today. First one is done, the old print. This is the second, and there's the third. These are the prints that we showed on Instagram the other day. Oh, they're in a different order. Where's the order? Just a sec. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Here it is. Rhonda. So you're talking about the zodiac ones, almost certainly. I mean, I don't know because I've got no hard data on this, but my God, looking at the designs, almost certainly this is the same person. Absolutely, this has got to be the same person. And the big reveal, the names of the games. This is, of course, Kintaro. We have the character for Kin at the front. We've got his pink-red color. This may be representing a bear. Your guess is as good as mine. This is Kintaro. This one is a tough one, and it stumped almost all of our staff members here. What we've got, there's two clues that tell us what it is here. One is this is Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto, and we have a procession of foxes. I don't know if you can see it or not. The white things that look like a heart are the foxes' heads in a traditional graphic shape, and the blue things, this is not flat on the floor, the blue things are these formal wear with the wide shoulders. So it's a procession of foxes coming down from the shrine within their absolutely formal wedding attire. And this is a reference to the story Kitsune no Yome Iri, the fox's wedding. And you've got to know, you had to know what it was, those two things. What was the third one? I can't remember. I got the different order from what they were. I think this was the third one. This one totally stumped me. It's a folk tale. I've forgotten it now. It's the folk tale based on the Benkei story. Something Wakamaru. Oh my God, I can't forget. Wakamaru. It's one that I hadn't known myself. Let me get to my mailbox here where I have my list. Hang on a sec. This one I didn't know. Ushi Wakamaru is the name of the tale, and it's derived from the Benkei story. We need the bridge, we have the geta, we have the sword in the bottom. I did not know this one myself at all. What came next? Next is, actually this is easy. There's a branch, there's a cherry, there's a guy with a basket. This is Hanasaka Ji-chan, the man who took the ashes of his dead dog, threw them up in the trees, and made cherry blossoms bloom. Number 5, this is stolen from the West. It's the story of the rabbit and the turtle. Of course, we have a turtle way in the distance and a rabbit deciding what to do. So, Ushi Wakamaru, it's the Yoshitsune and Benkei on the bridge. So, we have another one here. This one was, I think, which one was next? I can't remember the exact order, I'm sorry. This is Issumboshi, the 1-inch samurai in the English version of the story. And this is his little miso soup bowl that he used for a ship. This one is the Bumbugu Chagama story, the tanuki who transforms himself into various objects, including a tea kettle. This one, I think, is wrong. It's actually the story they call Kachi Kachi Yama. It's a battle between a rabbit and a tanuki, and the final scene is in a boat, or in 2 boats on the sea. And we are seeing 2 boats here, seen from the air. It's a rabbit with his oar, with which he is about to kill the tanuki. It's a kind of a grotesque story, but it's Kachi Kachi Yama is the name of the story. This one is easy. It's the boy with the fishing pole on the long-lived kame, turtle in the sea. This is the Urashima Taro story, where the boy does a time slip. This one totally stumped me, but after you see it, we get what it is. This is Momotaro. It's Momotaro. It's an old couple. He's a woodcutter. He's been in the forest cutting wood. She is doing something. She's doing her laundry in the river, and along comes a floating peach. Now this is pretty obscure, but there it is. That's the Momotaro story. The last one, not the last one, this one here. This is Saru Kanigasen. It's the monkey and the crab, and they started by fighting over an onigiri, which is referred to here. And none of us can figure out what's the purpose of this little line at the side. This one, they tell me this is the tongue-cut sparrow, but I have no idea what the graphic element we're looking at is. There's a bunch of people in a party. Somebody's watching them. There's shamisen, there's fan dancers, and the reference apparently is to the party scene in the tongue-cut sparrow, but I myself have no idea what we're looking at here, what the objects at the top are, what the thing at the bottom is. Are we looking in a window? I have No idea. It's a mallet to crack open the crab. It could be the mallet used for the scene. There's a mochi making scene in that story. I guess so, whatever. It's kind of obscure for me. And this one, to me, this is completely obscure. I have no idea. What's the relation between that story? But all the Japanese staff says the same thing. This makes them think immediately of the tongue-cut sparrow story. So we are. Go ahead and answer back on Instagram now. And finally, we have something special. We closed off the last show and tell with this scene of woodblock prints of actresses. Let me get it set here. Just a sec. Let me get it set. Find the focus point. These were our 5 actresses we saw. Are they focused? Yes. Okay. What we have here now is a quiz. I have 5 photographs to show you. Who is who? I hunted up these ladies. These ladies are real people. They were famous. They were extremely famous in the days of pre-talkies, silent movies. These ladies date back quite a long time. They were all born in like the 1870s, 1880s, 1890s or so, and I have 5 photographs to show you. Who is who? Okay. No, actually, I didn't make myself a cheat sheet here, so let me one sec. I gotta go look in the background here to make sure I get this right. Hang on a sec. So what do? Do we let you guess first and then see what's going on? What are your guesses? Bottom right, middle top, bottom right, top center. Okay, the clue here is the hair. The clue here is the hair. This lady is the actress called Kawada-san. And this is the person whose photograph you were looking at. And actually, I can see this. The hair, of course, is one giveaway, and the eyes are another giveaway. This is Kawada, is her name. So we move on. Actually, if we do it this way, then you'll know who the 5th one is by the time we get to it. Which one is this one? And again, it seems to be that the hair is the clue. Also, we've got the pose. This lady is the one called Matsui Chieko. And this is the photograph. This is the lady we are looking at here. So it's bottom left. This photograph is the lady on the bottom left. We're using top left, top right, top left, top right, upper right, top right, top left, top right. This girl is Okada. And here we are. And her name is Okada Yoshiko. We're dealing with the artist Okada Yoshio. Apparently no design, no relation. This is Okada. This is the girl. Sorry if I got it. The photograph you're seeing is this lady. Okay, that leaves 2 of them. So what I should do is I should not tell you this. Let's just leave this. Hang on a sec. Who's left? I can't remember. Who's left? It's, I guess we're talking between these 2. These are our 2 choices now. So I'll tell you what I'll do. Instead of telling you this for a moment, just a sec, let me just move ahead to the next photograph as well. Switch back. We've got guests all over the top here, all over the place. Okay, so let me scroll back just so we know what's going on here now. Let me scroll back. Okay, this was our first one. 1, 2, 3. Our fourth one here, the actress's name is Sawa, and this is the person. And then the fifth one, her name is Umemura, and that's the name that goes with it. I tried to find pictures that matched as closely as possible. I didn't try and actually screw this up. I went hunting on Google, and there are lots and lots. These women were famous. And it's the hair. If we go around the cycle again, look at this. The hair tells you. This woman's got her hair in exactly the same shape as she did when she was younger. The next one too. The hair, she's got this big thing at the front and the big puffies at the sides. This one too. She keeps it falling over her right eye. Here we go. The same. It's the hair. The hair shows exactly every one of those. I couldn't resist that after finding these prints the other day. I tried to find photographs that perhaps were the model for making these prints, but I couldn't find the exact same thing. So I don't know the artist who did these, what he used for a model. Maybe they posed for contemporary pictures. I have no idea. No idea what at all. Okay, there we have it. She's going in the bath. They're all going in the bath soon. Not today. I don't have time to do it today. I'm working on the thing that's coming up. One more thing to mention before I sign off. We will be sending our next email newsletter. As I said, it's a newsletter or promotion or whatever you want to call it. We're sending that out probably on the 21st or so, Japan time. And I got to explain something. Inside the newsletter is the announcement of a new group of flea market prints. Watanabe-san has got nearly 200 new flea market prints ready. And we're going to be opening them up as part of this email going out. But we have a problem because some of you guys are asleep, some people are awake, all at different time of day. And we had a problem last year. We did the same thing last year. We did it in mid-afternoon Tokyo time, and everybody at the east side of America was asleep. And I got a couple of emails, one of them a very bitter email saying, "Dave, thanks. You announced all these beautiful prints, and by the time I woke up, they were all gone." And I really don't know what to do. The prints in our flea market are unique. There is only one, and there's 24 hours in the day, and I have to choose one of the minutes to do that. So what we're doing this time is this. When we send the email out, the prints will not yet be open on the website. And in the email, we're going to announce 3 groups. Group A is going to open at this and this such a time. Group B will open 8 hours later. Group C will open 8 hours later. So no matter what part of the world you're living in, a new group will be opening up sometime when you are awake. And we are going to announce this 24 hours in advance. So you can be as crazy as you like. You can watch all 3 groups if you like, or you're going to just miss one of the groups. And she has split the prints into roughly 3 equivalent groups. There's a couple of Tokaido sets in each group. There's some smaller prints in each group, blah, blah, blah. So that's the way we're going to do it. It will be explained in the email. The email, I think, is going to go out Japan time Monday morning, and the group openings will happen Tuesday morning, the 22nd. It'll all be explained in there. And I think that's all we can do. These are single items, single prints, and whatever. Some people are going to be asleep. And, the only other way to do it then is to go to auction, and I am not going to auction any of our prints. I'm not going to do that. Richest man wins. Sorry, that's not the way we're going to do this. So we're going to do it in that side. 3 groups, 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. And it all happens in a few days. My next couple of days now is the final preparation for this, and it opens up on Monday morning. So sorry to turn this into a bit of a promotion talk, but I really, whatever. I just want to explain what's going on. Okay, it's Saturday now. I gotta head up, grab a cup of coffee, and then get to my computer screen and spend the next 48 hours working on these things. I've got no idea what Monday's stream is going to be about. I'm not ready to actually start carving this surfer yet. I'm not that far advanced on it. We'll see. We'll be doing something. I'm out of here now. Thanks very much. I've got no outside camera to show you. I'm just simply going to have to turn the stream off. See you in a couple of days on Monday, and thank you very much. I got to call my mother today. She would like to get a call from me for a few minutes here today, I think. Okay, bye for now, guys. Thanks very much. See you soon.